Hello friends, this is Raj Sastry from Raj Option Trading. Today is June 9, 2022. Hope you're all doing well. In today's segment, we will take a quick look at StockRover, which is a very good stock research platform, especially for buy and hold long-term investors. So with that, let's take a look at this platform, and also let's look at top cybersecurity stocks and see which cybersecurity stocks we can buy now and reap a nice profit as we go forward. So with that, first 10 minutes or so let's spend on StockRover and understand the platform, and then jump into top cybersecurity stocks. So with that, look, StockRover platform has got a nice layout. So to begin with, you can click on dashboard like I did here, and you get a nice idea of how is major indices are doing. Right now you can see here yesterday's market, Dow Jones Industrial Average down 269, and we got S&P 500 down 44, and you got Nasdaq also down. A quick snapshot, it kind of quickly tells you what's going on in a one-day time frame. Then if you want a bigger time frame, say you want to look at year to date, you can click on Y2D here, and look, you get the Y2D year to date performance here. Look what's going on here from a year to date basis. The Dow Jones down 9.43%, S&P 500 down 13%, which is in the correction territory. Look at Nasdaq down 22%. And what's even better, you can get a quick idea of market movers right there. Look, from a market mover perspective, we got here, I clicked on year to date, you got the year to date return in major stocks here. Look, we got AMD down 29%, ouch, that's hurting. Apple down 16%, Amazon.com down 27%. You get a good idea. Look at Nvidia down big time, and even Carnival Cruise Line, that's down big time. And if you want to look at one day, you could click on one day here. You get the one day return. Look, we got Carnival again down big time, and Philip Morris down big time. And you could also, great thing about this platform here, many platforms, they give you up to 1 year or 2 year. This platform goes to 5 year and 10 year also. Look, I can click on this 5 year here, and right now looks like okay, we got 5 year return right here. Look, on a 5 year basis, we got these major sectors here. Look, the performance, basic materials has done nicely in last 5 years. Nice return. So with that, let's jump in and look at a few more things here. And there's a market tab here. You can click on markets, and you get nice what's going on in the market at this time. Same story. You get 1 day, 5 day, 1 month, year to date. So you get a good idea how the market is moving. So with that, let's jump in here. And if you want to look at bigger time frame, you can always click here. You could click on 2 year and see how the market is doing 2 year. Right now I'm in S&P 500. I could click on Nasdaq and Dow Jones. It kind of changes the chart. Same story here. As you look at the indices here, you can click on 5 day, look at how it's doing in 5 day, 3 month, 1 year. It kind of tells you what's going on here. So that's one of the neat thing I like about this platform. And if I hover back to dashboard one last time here, look, you could look in a glance here. You can look the performance here of these companies. And if you want to look at gainers, you want to look at the gainers yesterday, you can click on gainers. Look, we got Las Vegas Sands, Wynn Resorts, HC all did very nicely. Then you can look at percentage losers and see who is losing out yesterday. Look, we got some big losers here, including Philip Morris, Carnival Cruise Line, State Street, and so on and so forth. And look, you can also click on 52-week highs. It tells you what are the 52-week highs. No surprise here. Most of the energy names show up on the top here at the 52-week high. And you got 52-week lows here. I like this ARE, Alexandra Real Estate. It's a good company. It looks like it's in a 52-week low right now. It's a good one to buy here. And then you got Health Peak Properties, also a good company. Looks like it's also a 52-week low. You got a good idea by looking at this chart what's trending in the market. So with that, you have a lot of other goodies here. Probably what I will do is I will take a maybe a quick review of this entire StockRover in coming days, so that way you get a very good idea. So in today's topic, let's go into top cybersecurity stocks and look at the cybersecurity stocks. Look, I got here a nice watch list here. I could click on my watch list, and in the watch list here, you could I have multiple watch lists. And look, right now, as you see here, I got my cybersecurity watch list up here. I could click. I already saved it. And I got my cybersecurity watch list up here. I could go here to the table format, and if you want to look at watch list here, you can go here. Look, I got multiple watch lists, as you can see here, and I got China watch list, big data watch list, EV battery watch list. That's one great thing about this platform here. It will let you create a folder, and you can have multiple watch lists here, like I'm doing here. I track multiple markets, multiple trends. And look, I got Cannabis, EV battery, which is electric vehicle battery, and so on and so forth. And also you could have screeners. I got multiple screeners. StockRover also gives you collection of pre-built screeners here. If you are a dividend investor, you could look at top 20 S&P 500 dividend growers, and you can look at the dogs of the Dow, and you could look at various screeners. And what's even better is StockRover also gives you a library. You can look at the library of screeners and see what makes sense to you. You can add it to your own screening folder. Look, there are pre-built folders. We got Howard Reisman, who's the CEO and the founder of the company. He's pretty busy creating these screeners, and we got a few other folks creating the screeners, as you can see here. You can look at these great screeners and add it to your stock screener list. So that way you can look at these great screens and look at the stocks which go into the screener. Look, there's a growth rank, there's a Piotrowski F score, which is 9, mid and large cap. Those are some of my favorite stocks, screeners. So with that, we'll go back here to the watch list here and go from there. Look, I will go into screeners here. Actually, go to watch lists. And I will go into my watch list right here. Look, I got my watch list, cybersecurity. I will go into cybersecurity here. I can collapse all these things here. I can just collapse here so you can look at the view properly here. Look, I got my cybersecurity stocks here, a list of stocks. I sorted this by market capitalization, as you can see here. Top of the list is one of my favorite stocks here, Cisco Systems, and you can get a very good idea about Cisco in a glance by looking at this list here. Look, Cisco right now, they got a nice sales. Great thing about StockRover, it gives you multiple views. You can customize your views. I got report view, basic view, scan view. You can see here I created multiple views, and StockRover also gives you standard views. So I could click and adjust these columns here. For example, sales here, I can't see properly. I can widen it out so that way you see Cisco has got nice sales. Average 5-year sales growth is 1.2. Not great, but it's good positive sales growth. Company is making money. Gross margin nice 63% gross margin. Net margin is nice 23%, and debt to equity, low debt, as you can see here. A nice return on equity. RSI perspective, it's just 41. That tells you stock is sold off here. You could buy the stock here. And you got institutional ownership. Nice. Look, big institutions are holding Cisco. That's a great one here. It also gives you a short ratio, very low short ratio, as you can see here. Price to sales perspective, it's not very pricey. You get all these statistics here, and as you go through further, there are more information the StockRover gives you. Look, it gives you the current price. It gives you 5-day, 10-day return, 1-month return, 5-year, and it also gives you 10-year return. I did not add it to this view here, but it gives you 10-year return also. It's a great information you can look at by this platform here. And then as you scan through here, we got multiple things, for the investor, buy and hold investor. You want to look at price to earning ratio, price to sales ratio, shares available, cash. You can look at all this information. In any of these many stock screeners will not give you all this information. They are mainly for many of those applications are for swing and day traders, but StockRover caters to swing traders as well as long-term investors. That's one of the reasons I like this platform. Look, I can even go into multiple things. Next report date 8/17, and it also gives you volatility on a yearly basis. By looking at this, Cisco is not very volatile. Volatility is just 25. But as you look at other companies like CrowdStrike, high volatility here. You could adopt strategies like put option selling way below current stock price. And look, we got one more Zscaler, high volatility. You got a good idea by looking at this, what's high volatility stock. And then, one of my favorite thing is I like to look at, some of these StockRover ratings and scores. So I could just click on StockRover. Actually, scores is one of my favorite. I could click on scores. I have my favorite companies as usual. Cisco. If I don't have too much time for the research, I just go here and look at the scores. Look, from a score perspective, Cisco Systems at the top here. Nice market cap, 186, almost 200 billion. Look at the overall score. Look at the value score, 84, and they got here value decile that tells you in the industry how is it ranked from a valuation perspective. Nice and good rank that tells you valuation is not high for this company. It's also growing nicely compared to industry. Nice growth score here, and it got nice quality score. By a nutshell, by scanning through this, you get a good idea how is Cisco stacking up. And then you got few more, as you can see here. And you can also click on StockRover ratings. It also tells you nice rating view here. By looking at this, you could look at the overall ratings. If you don't have too much time, you could just look at the overall rating versus peers. That tells you, what are the great companies. By scanning through this, I know, if I were to buy a stock here from this cybersecurity list here, I could look at the top rated stocks here. Look, for example, Fortinet. It's 86 here. I could buy this great company, and I could also look at look, Fortinet. I love this company. It's growing nicely. Growth score is 99. That tells it's growing nicely. If you compare that to Cisco, growth score versus peers is 35, a little bit lower. So I would, if you're a growth investor, I would go with the Fortinet. And from a valuation perspective, Fortinet has got a little bit, valuation score is low. That tells you it's a little more highly valued. And look, from a margin perspective, it gets 97, whereas Cisco gets 100. So Cisco has got better margin. But look at the financial strength here. Similar story here. Cisco has got better financial strength. And from a dividend perspective, Cisco pays a nice dividend. That's why it gets a 92 here. So by looking at this, depending on your investment strategy, you could pick some of these stocks here. Many times I'm a growth investor, so I go typically with the high growth names like Fortinet as an example, and even Palo Alto Network. That's one of my favorite here. I typically go with those stocks with a nice growth, and I want to make sure they're also good from a financial strength perspective. Look, we got Datadog right here. Datadog is also a good company when it comes to growth, and it's got financial strength also. Those are the good stocks you could pick up and buy during this downtime. And one of my favorite volatile stock is Akamai. I love Akamai. It's a good company here, and whenever Akamai comes down, I typically buy. It's a wild stock. It's got a characteristic of its own. For example, by looking at this, I got Akamai here. Price is $100. I feel comfortable. I could buy some Akamai. But if I want to see how is Akamai doing, from a performance perspective, I could go back to my report view and look at Akamai. And if you're a technically oriented person, this also has got a quick technical view here. I could go right here and look at some of these technical areas and go from there. I think I got some technical somewhere down here. You could look at some of the technical views, and you got a good idea what's going on in the technical area. So with that, let's go into one area or one or two areas here so you get a good idea. So look, you could, there are various things in this. It's a very good to understand. But one nice thing is really you could, go back here to the view here, and let me go back to my default view which I created, which is a report view. So I could click on Cisco here. For example, you don't have too much time. You want to see what Cisco is doing. You get a nice chart by clicking on, hovering over Cisco here. You get a nice chart here. It tells you in a nutshell how is Cisco doing. And if you want to know more about Cisco, you could go into a little more detail here, and you could click on Cisco, and you could also go into a little more detail on Cisco. For example, I want to know more about Cisco, so I could go into my dashboard view and bring up Cisco right here. I say CSCO. Boom, I get a nice overview of Cisco here. It tells you Cisco right now stock price is $44, as you can see here, and down 1.43%. And look, I get a nice view of its scores here. I typically pay very close attention to Piotrowski F score. It's 7, tells you it's a tip-top shape here. Altman Z score 3.3. Anything over 1.8 is good here. If it is over 2, it's great. I think it's 3.3 is great here. And instead of Cisco, let's take a look at Fortinet, which is one of my favorite stock, or even CrowdStrike. For example, let's take CrowdStrike, CRWD. CrowdStrike is one of the upcoming security companies, as many of you know here. Look, CrowdStrike, you get a nice view here. If you want a 5-year chart, you could bring that up also. It tells you in a nutshell, in a 52-week range where CrowdStrike is. It's at $130. 52-week high is $298. And then you could look at score here. Look, Altman Z score. It's kind of slowing down, as you can see here, which is okay, still nice high. And Piotrowski F score is 6. And look, there is a small chart tells you it's improving, which is great here. And then you got a few more benchmarks here. I like to look at industry, the analyst ratings. It tells you it's a strong buy ratings from an analyst perspective. And it tells you sentiment score perspective. Folks are really bullish about this company. Nice sentiment. And then you get growth, valuation, and so on and so forth. And rating against the peers. Look, when you compare to peers, CrowdStrike is doing very well with the overall rating 71. That's also great here. You got a ton of information. You can also look at some competitors. Competitors perspective, it may not be direct competitors to CrowdStrike, but generally in the same industry. You could kind of get an idea about other companies in the space. You got Wipro, Indian companies, Snowflake, so on and so forth. With that, you could also, one more thing is you could look at visuals. If you're a visual person like myself, you get a good idea here. From a visual perspective, look, right now we are looking at earnings per share. You can get a good idea about the sales, how is sales doing, and so on and so forth. And normally I like to look at, from a visual perspective, I like to look at the history and see how the stock is doing. Sometimes I might look at the monthly return. Look, if you want to look at the monthly return, it tells you in a nutshell, how is CrowdStrike doing on a monthly basis. Look, as you look through here, it gives you nice and rich time frame here. And look, as you look through here, it tells you how it's doing. You can click on it and see the time frame here, and you can see here March 2021 it came down big time. Obviously it's the COVID days, that's why it came down. And then recently here May 2022 it came down here, and then you got here June it's rebounding. You get a good idea here. I like to look at big picture and some of the pattern as I invest. So it's that's why it's good to look at some of these things, get some good idea. And one of my favorite is really to look at the average monthly return on a seasonality basis. If you want to really understand how to invest, many of these stocks have got a heart rate, as we call it. Look, from a CrowdStrike perspective, it will do well typically in June and July. Look, nice return here. August it will start slightly coming down. September and October are a little bit bad months for CrowdStrike here, and then it will start rebounding in November and December and go strong. So you get some good idea. Normally it pays attention. It's really pays to pay attention to this seasonality as you invest. That's one good way to invest, because many stocks have got predictable pattern. This tells you how to look at those patterns here. And you can also look at the nice table view here. It gives you a table view. And you could look at multiple things. You could look at history here. It tells you nice history about this company. You could look at historically how the stock has done, cash flow, profitability, and so on and so forth. And you could look at how it's doing versus industry, and look at the technicals, and you get a good idea how is the stock doing here. And there are a lot of technical views here. That's one of the reasons if you're a Bollinger Band investor, you could look at Bollinger Bands, as you can see here. And it tells you various technical indicators like RSI, or Relative Strength Index, where is the stock against the industry, money flow index, how far it's from Bollinger Band 20. Is it over Bollinger Band 20-day average, or 20 period, or is it higher? So it tells you how is the stock doing. So, and also we have Bollinger Band 50-day here. It tells you where it is in the Bollinger Band 50-day bands. So you get a good idea here. All right, so now, I also like to look at the, sometimes I look at the news. I get a good idea about what's moving in this cybersecurity area. You get some good news here. And then you can look at the analyst view here. This is one of my favorite. You can see here strong buy rating, and look at all the ratings here. And sometimes, I also like to look at a nice report. For example, I don't have too much time. I'm in a hurry, but I want to know more about a company. I could click on, the company here. For example, right now, look at CSCO, Cisco. And I don't have too much time to spend here. I want a quick report on Cisco. I could really go in here, and actually let me go into dashboard here and put Cisco here. All right, so we got Cisco here. You could just click on the research report. You get a nice research report. You don't need to spend too much time. StockRover crunches the report real time for you and produces a nice report here with a lot of rich data here. By looking at this, Cisco got stock price as of yesterday is $44, down 1.43%. And look, it tells you, in a snapshot, things like market cap, price to earning, price to sales. You get a good idea here. Then you got the the chart, nice chart here. By looking at the chart quickly here, Cisco has come down. Now it's trying to rebound. This happened in the last earnings season. And then you got the analyst rating, and you look at the score. You can quickly see, I don't need to worry too much about Cisco here. Nice valuation score, nice growth score, nice quality score. So by looking at this, it's a good company, and margin of safety is also pretty good here. So as you look through here, you get a business summary, you get a valuation summary. It's from a valuation perspective, nice score here. It's a low valuation, as you can see here. And you can compare Cisco's growth to the industry, which is not great, but it's good, 77, which is good enough. Industry is at 53. Cisco is doing better than the industry, but slightly less compared to S&P 500 when it comes to growth. Then it kind of tells you the score. From a score perspective, it compares the valuation, the growth, and the quality. You can look at Cisco versus other companies here. Just by taking a look at this, if you're a growth investor, you probably have to invest in companies like T Connectivity, which is one of my favorite. You could also look at one more here, APH here. That's also a good growth company. And you got a few more companies from a growth perspective that are better than Cisco, as you can see here. But from an overall quality perspective, Cisco gets a top grade here, especially because its gross margin is great, about 63 or so, net margin positive. That's why Cisco gets a good grade when it comes to quality. When it comes to finance, look, HPQ has got, looks like a valuation perspective, and HPQ has got lower valuation because it came down. So you get a good idea by looking at this chart. How to pick the stocks. If you're concerned about margin of safety here, Cisco has got nice margin of safety. You don't need to worry. 27%. That tells you it's currently it's the stock price is lower than the fair value. That's why nice margin of safety here. And you got Arrow Electronics, also nice margin of safety as you can see here. Then you could look at profitability. Look, this is a profitable company, nice profitability score. You can look at the return here. Looks like Cisco from a return perspective. Look at 1 year and 3 year, 5 year return. In a 5-year time frame, it's a lagged S&P 500. S&P 500 did 84%. Cisco just did 65%. And from a debt perspective, this company has got very low debt as you can see here, and it's kind of right now it's flat as you can see here. Get a good idea here, and you get a whole host of information about Cisco in one nutshell here. You don't need to sift through multiple things. That's one of the great reason I love this StockRover. In a nutshell, you get a clean view of the entire portfolio here. So now I can go back here to my navigation here and look at stock. Look at this company. I can just close this and go back to my tab here and go back to my navigation and look at Cisco in a little more detail. I could click on this table view here. It will take me back to table view here. So you could compare Cisco with the other companies. You got all these companies here. You could sort them. For example, if you want to look at nice and high sales growth in 1 year, you can click on it and look at what company is growing nicely from a sales perspective. Let's go back here and click on this navigation, and I'll just look at our watch list here. We got cybersecurity watch list. There you go. Look, now I sorted by sales here. Sales 1 year. Let's sort it quickly here. From a sales 1 year perspective, you can see here DataDog, nice growth. CrowdStrike, nice 1 year sales growth. You get a good idea. Even Cloudflare, nice 1 year growth here. You got a very good idea of what's a growth company. So that's one of the reasons I love this StockRover portfolio. It's for the buy and hold investor. You could just look at this one here. You don't need to spend too much time. You want to get a quick second idea about a stock, and you can look at this here, and rich set of pre-built views. You can create your own view, and unlike many other scanners, you can completely customize the views. You can move the columns from here to here. You can do a lot of things with this one here. That's one of the reasons I like this one here. And there is a lot of tabs here. If you're a dividend investor, you could look at dividend view here. And many times I love to look at ETFs also. I could just go here to my scanner or screener here. I could just go here. I got here my top ETF screen right here. I could click on it, and I could click on ETF view right here. It kind of gives me a nice ETF view here. I can collapse this. All right, it's crunching. Look, I got ETFs here. When it comes to ETF, I like to sort this by volume. That way I look at the nice and high volume ETFs in the beginning. There you go. I'm clicking on volume here, and I want to sort on the volume. Look, let's sort it other way around with the volume. All right, so I sorted by volume here. I want to look at high volume ETFs. Look, I got my high volume ETF. Looks like folks are really buying TQQQ 3x bull ETF on QQQ on the down days. That's why huge volume for this one here. And we got SPY and so on and so forth. So this is a quick nutshell about StockRover. One of my favorite buy and hold, and even for swing trading, it's good. You got a good idea, and also we looked at top cybersecurity stocks. Hope that helps. Thank you very much. Happy investing and trading. Please subscribe.